Yes.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Watch, Learn, and tonight the P stands for pencil. So Watch, Learn, and Pencil. We are going to pencil in this beautiful kitten tonight that Lydia has prepared for us. I shall show it to you in a second. Thank you, Lydia, for being here again.
Thanks, Cindy. Thank you, everybody, for coming.
And it's going to be a wonderful evening with Lydia and her another addition to her critter squares.
Yes.
But we're going to wait a few minutes so that people can catch up with us. And I forgot to mention on Monday night with Corinne Capino's Meet the Artist. Afterwards, I had posted a video demo from her. So if you hadn't had a chance to watch it yet, you should go watch it. I believe I posted it under announcements. And if not, my bad. So I'm working on I don't know, not the adrenaline, but when you just automatically do something, you don't really think about doing it and you just do it because it has to be done, but you can't remember, did you do it or not?
I don't know.
It's like habit, a habitual thing. So anyways, if it's not there, feel free to contact me and I will locate it for you.
Well, I have a question.
Yeah.
How long will these different videos be in the announcements area?
I usually keep them on for, I don't know if it's a week or a month.
Oh, okay. All right. So get to it fairly quickly because it is going to disappear.
Well, it doesn't stay in the announcements, but unless you tell me you would like me to delete it from the files, it does stay in the video file. So anybody can go under the videos, and some of us, it says media as a title. Some of us, it just says photos or video. It depends on what form of Facebook, what version of Facebook you're using or what device you're on.
All right.
And under videos, you look for the one that has the most minutes. Like if you want to see a Lydia video, plan on almost 90 minutes.
I'm trying to keep it shorter. Okay. So they might still be there. It's just somebody asked me about the chickadee one and I said I thought it was only for 30 days that it was there. So they troll around and look.
Yeah, they can find it under videos and just look for a picture of you or the chickadee. I mean, I don't know, because it stops at all different. Yeah, the viewfinder stops at different points in a video, but the one that's the longest kind of thing most likely is Lydia, and but if it's only for, like I said, unless you want me to take it down, they're kind of there. No, I don't do any housekeeping in inside that area, so usually you can find stuff. But on the Artful Webinars, which is a paid program where you pay for a webinar, those video replays are 30 days.
Okay.
That's where we all get confused because we're like, well, Artfully Connected, Artful Webinars, what are we doing? I don't know.
Yeah.
But so thank you again for being here, and go check out Corinne's alcohol ink demonstration. You can even paint along with her if you have some alcohol inks and you want to try this method, because I think it's really cool. And then the other thing is Arlene's iris folding last Tuesday. Thank you all for joining us. And if you are still interested and you want the pattern packet, you can email arlenelintonartist@gmail.com, or I did finally, my bad again, but I did finally put it in the files of this group. So you can find it there and download it. But yeah, you got to fire me someday. I don't know. Nobody seems to want to do that.
Not soon.
So tell us what you're going to do tonight, Lydia.
Yeah. So this was a little girl, and she had two brothers, and I named her Florrie for Florence in Italy because I was heading off to my first Italy trip with my daughter. So that's what the Florrie stands for. And they were all super fluffy, light gray little girls. And I think I had them about this time of the year because I had pictures of them in pink and, all that kind of stuff. So that's why she's perfect for this month. And I have next month's already as well. And it's just going to be called Baby Bunny. BB Bunny. And it's a pencil one because I don't have the one for the online convention. It's acrylic. So I thought maybe the colored pencil people might like a bunny as well.
This looks so much like my Shauna's Cadbury that just died a couple months ago, last month. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's too bad.
I'm going to have to try and do him one day.
Definitely. So the one thing I wouldn't mind sort of also discussing is the fact that there's a few people that maybe had, like, I mean, I asked for different materials, like pan pastels and, you know, different things, especially on my little Gloria. There's a few things on her too, that this is just an e-packet, but I know that things, like not everybody can buy pan pastels. So I've given you other pastels that could be used. You could color them with just your pencils. That's going to be fine too. There's lots of things that I like mucking about with. And if you don't, I would say the biggest thing is to just make sure that you get a good piece of paper, because a friend of mine went to glue their cardinal, I think, maybe on a piece of paper, and it buckled a bit. So get a good piece of paper, but there's lots of other options to do. You don't have to do it exactly like mine. And so this Gloria, she's my little kitten right now, and it's a fundraiser for Cupcakes for Kitties. And I have either the e-packet in pencil or a Zoom class, and you would sign up for whatever one you want. And today I just finished the acrylic one. So in the next day or two, I will also have the e-packet up for that one. And I made it a little bit bigger because with paint, it's maybe a little bit nicer to have a bigger surface.
So tell them about the fundraiser. And
well, I don't know if you guys have it down there, but here in Canada, it's a National Cupcake Day on February 22nd. And the whole idea is to bake cupcakes, take them to work, sell it, and then give the money to an animal rescue. Of course, that's not really working out this year. And so I did a painting of a cuppy cake and a kitten. And so I'll give the money to my Ottawa Humane Society where I volunteer. And so I have an e-packet in colored pencil. I have a Zoom class. I've got a few spots left in that one. And that's going to be on February 22nd. I have now got an e-packet in acrylic, and I may or may not do a Zoom class in, for the acrylic painters. I just have to know if people actually want that, and then I would pick a day and we would do that too. Okay. So do you think everybody's found us now? Okay, if everybody's found us.
Yeah, we got like over 80 sets of eyes watching you.
Okay, so then we can get started. All right, I'll change my camera and we can get started here. I'll just move Gloria out of the way. So Florrie is the queen of the evening. All right. So I have done the pan pastel. And again, I just get all these little emails and messages and things like that. So I think somebody in the group today or in the next little while will be trying it on a watercolor paper with a soft watercolor blotchy background in pink. So hopefully she will tell me how that worked out for her, and we can go with that, and I can report back. So I think I've done permanent red tint, and I've actually, permanent red tint, and I've actually already put in the darkness here and here. On my original, I did it afterwards because I just felt that it needed to be a little bit darker. So we're going to start off with white, and we are going to put in the sparkles. And the thing, I know you guys probably know this already, but the thing is with pencil is that if it's white on a white paper, you just have to put it on there, and you know, it's not really going to show until you take the black and go around it. But you still have to put it on because the white won't really go over the black. You can get some of it to show, but not the same way. So when you do the iris or the pupil here, just make sure you're nice and careful and get the eye in. Now there's a thin slip of an eye here. So don't make that too big. So it's with the black, and if anything, make it maybe a little smaller than you think, because you can always make it bigger later. There we go. I'm just gonna bump it out there just a little bit. And we are going to just gently outline. So here on the pupil, I colored in fairly strongly. And now I'm just sort of sketching in the line around just with like light pressure. You could put a little bit up top as well, but you have to remember we are going to have some eyelashes. So it's not going to be the same kind of line. It's going to be very, very sketchy at the top. If you decide to do that, you could just not do it. And that would be fine too. Okay, so then Celadon is the next color. And we will, with a nice circular stroke, fill in the iris with Celadon. Nice and even. There's a little bit up top too. There we go. And then we're going to use peach. And we're going to put peach in the nose area. And depending on what you've got for pan pastel, it may or may not show up too much, but I think you can kind of see. And let's take a very sharp pumpkin orange and just put in right on top of the graphite line where the nostril is. I don't think I'd come up this side, the left side, just kind of keep to that nostril, maybe that little line going down to the mouth, maybe up the left.
Not that I want to make you nervous, but we were up to 106 pair of eyes.
My goodness gracious me.
And we actually have some people who had said that they are going to try and pencil with you today.
Oh, good. Good.
So I hope to get to see what theirs looks like when they're done, and if whether they pasteled the back too, because it's so beautiful.
The pan pastels really are quite nice. This is, if you had the new pastels or any other pastels that are in sticks, you would just get a gritty piece of sandpaper and just like really rub your pastel on there and get it down to dust. And then you can apply it just exactly the same way as you do with a pan pastel. So in the cupcakes for Gloria, I've just taken that 24 pack of new pastels and done the same thing and given you some ideas of, you know, how you could just be a little bit flexible. I think we are all finding that we need to be a bit more flexible lately with all the supply issues. Okay, so I've also, I don't know if I said that, taken the pumpkin orange and just kind of shade it down in that little triangle.
Paula says it is fine that Lydia is long. She is teaching us all, and we are willing to watch her no matter how long it takes.
All right. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. All right. So now we are going to get a white. And, you know, if you get into an art shop and you see 6 whites, buy them all because white just seems to disappear. And you just need to have lots of whites. There we go. So I'm going to do some of these finer areas and I'm just fuzzing up. Oh my goodness. You see, and that's the other reason why you need to have lots of whites is they're very, very soft and they like to break on you. So just have
You're going to get to the moon scrubber later or?
yeah, that's a later date or a later.
Today, right? Because someone was asking what's a moon scrubber, so you can discuss that later.
Okay, we can. All right, so here we go again. So I'm just making these little fluffy strokes of edge of ear. And with the white, you try not to go over the graphite lines just quite yet because it'll just make it harder for you to take them off. Okay, so I'm coming all the way down. Then I'm going to put in some fluff. She's got very fluffy ears, very fluffy ears. And she's got this swing here of fluff. She's got another little tuft of fluff. And you can put a few at the front here if you want, but it's not like a big deal. And then we want to have some nice fluff in here. So these come down and around, and then these come this way, getting smaller as we get to the top. They don't have to be perfect because we know we have more things coming. But at least that's going to have a little bit of a resist. And we have something to work with. All right, so the other ear, now that one is turned away. Okay, and I'm just putting in some fluff there. And you can't really see it too much, but it's there. And now
I think we're breaking the internet.
We are?
I don't know. Some people are saying that they can't get in or that they're having technical difficulties and it won't play. It keeps freezing. And I'm like, well, maybe at 116 people, maybe it's not supposed to be that many watching. I don't know.
Uh-oh. All right, so now above the eye, we have some markings. And sometimes it's just confusing as to what is going to be the dark and what's going to be the light. So what you want to try to do is look at, what we want and pick out the parts that you know. So I know I want that white. It's very clear. And then what do I do here? Okay, so this looks like it's probably going to be light gray, and this, I hope, will be the white marking here. And then I think that'll be that dark, and then we will have a light stripy coming around. And between these two, and it fades off, and then we have another light part in here that's coming up sort of, I guess, the middle of her head. except that she's turned aside. But you can see that this line is going to come scooching right up to the edge of the head there. So just bring it up right there. And then we have this eye. And we have a little bit under this eye. A little bit of cheeky part here. And we have under this eye. So these are those tabby markings that, a lot of cats have. And sometimes, like I say, it just is a little bit confusing. Well, they're all a little bit different too. I mean, I guess there's classic tabby markings and such, but lots of these that I do anyways aren't purebreds or anything. So I'm just coloring the rest of this nose in. This was the hard part, and now I just get to have some easy part in here, and I'm bringing it down towards the peach. And then I'm coming around and going to do the cheeky part here. All right.
So
Now you may have, sorry?
I have a question. Paula has a question. Do you set your pan pastels before starting on the kitty?
Yes, I do. So that's one thing that you have to remember is that when you set them, they do darken. So when I did this one first, and I had a butterfly up here, and then I went and I sprayed it and it darkened, and that's all I could see. It was way too much. You have to remember that it darkens when you set it. And usually you don't fix pastels. They have to go under glass, and that's just the way that goes. But of course, for us here, we can't keep rubbing on them. So we do set them before we do the pastels. Now for Gloria, this little girl, I did the pastels after. So I did the pencil first, then I did the black fur, and then I put the pastels in. And then it just depends on how you want to finish that afterwards as well. Now, if you put,
Rosie said, she goes, I'm soaking all Lydia says in.
Gosh, I hope I'm telling the truth. No, I am telling the truth about that for sure. Okay. So if you have put in whisker pocket a lot of dots, like if your graphite lines are quite dark, don't cover over them because you're going to have to take some of it off, I would imagine, because we don't want to have them too dark. Okay, so then we've got that, and then we can swing a little bit here underneath, and she was quite messy as far as a hairdo was concerned as well. So let's just put in a few little lines here, and we'll have a bit of gray down there, and this comes down.
And I'm sure you mentioned what paper you were working on at the beginning, but do you want to mention it quickly again?
I work on the Stonehenge paper. That works out for me. And it's pretty much readily available in art stores, and lots of times it comes in pads, either just in the white or it has that variety pack. So it has the pearl gray and the natural and the lighter tone colors. And those are the ones that I like doing. The black, it seems to be very difficult to find. So I'm kind of not doing too much black until I can think of where else I can find some. It doesn't come in pads. I think you can get them in the big sheets. Okay, so let's see. What have I done here while I was chatting? So we've done the edge of the ears, we put in the fluff, we've got the markings, cheek, chin. Make sure that this little side here doesn't grow. We don't want it to be too big. And let's get some of the dark ones in too. I've got this mane done. So this part is again part of a tabby. Always have this eyeliner. And this would be nicely shaped, thinking carefully about the line. So these ones come up and these ones come to the back and these ones come down. Like that. And we have this. And that's her extra tabby marking as well. And it comes up, well, it comes up fairly high. And I know there should be one on this side too, but you can see on this one, I didn't make it all that dark. So we're just going to leave that for a minute. So we just got these two little spots there. And then I think what we'll do is we'll fill in the rest of her with this warm gray 30. So this color is pretty good in that it's kind of the color of your graphite. So this color could go over and you can start incorporating your graphite lines in. So little short strokes, I'm coming up.
And what color gray was that?
This is the warm 30.
And the first one?
This one was warm 90.
90 and then 30. Okay.
Yeah.
There's a delay between Facebook and me seeing the question and what you're doing, so I needed to clear.
Okay. I don't think I said warm 90. I think I forgot that, but
okay.
This is warm 30, and I'm just filling in the rest of her. And you'll see that I'm kind of going over this white because I know it's not going to be white the same way it is down there. So I'm just going over it. And then I'll get the little ear, even shorter strokes.
Do you do like how much pressure someone is asking? Like what's the pressure that you're putting on there?
I'm pretty much always light pressure, to be perfectly honest. I always find that, especially on the first steps, until you know kind of what you want and what's coming later, you want to keep it a little bit on the light side. All right, so here we go, just filling in, grabbing those graphite lines whenever I can so that I don't need to worry about them later. And she just has a regular, relatively flat hairdo. And I can go over this as well. Just thinking about the fur direction, I usually put little lines on to help you out. See, I could have maybe put a little bit of warm 90 in here too. There we go. That'll just help. Okay, so these kind of go to the left. This kind of comes up. Here we go. And then we're going to fill in. Keep rotating your pencil so that you're wearing it down evenly. Doesn't have to be too sharp for this step. If you know that you want it a little bit darker in some places, you can do like maybe a couple of layers. Like for here, I really want to keep that, and I want to know where it is for other things later. So I'm just doing a little bit more right there. And then we come into this white. So we've had all this white. It's like she has a mane. Maybe I can sharpen now, because I'm kind of come up behind the ear. So I want to make sure that I am fairly precise as I come up. It's all about the fur direction. So these ones curved up, and then they come towards the back, and then they come down. And we don't really know what's going on down here, so we're just going to put some in, but nothing too crazy.
So we have a question.
Okay.
What sharpener do you like?
I have a whole bunch of them. So I have this one, which I picked up at a convention, and it's very nice. I quite like it. But when your pencils get small, then it doesn't really work that well. This is my workhorse, my Faber-Castell. I like this one because it's got two for a pencil, and then it's got a bigger one so that I can sharpen my Neocolor. This one I got at another shop, and it makes a very, very long point. So sometimes I use that one. And I just picked up this one, which is a high quality, it's got a big and a small as well, and it seems to be working out quite well too. It says Staedtler on it. And I just find that sometimes you need 2 or 3, because if one is not working for you today, then you might need another one. This is a cat food bin. So I don't know, I always buy pencil sharpeners, and they do get dull, so you have to sharpen a regular pencil in them because they get waxy buildup. So you do have to do that. And then some just don't want to work today, and so you give them a rest and you use another one. Okay, so I'm just pulling all the gray. This is still warm 30, still warm 30. And I'll put a little bit of extra right there. Probably I'll come to another warm value when I get it out. I know if you have the packet, you'll notice that I asked for quite a few in the warm gray category, the different values. Okay. I think that might be it for, I haven't really done too much in here. So, don't worry about that so much. We're going to concentrate on here, and then at the end, you're just going to fill it up with gray and, complete the picture. So now what we're going to do is take our peach again, and we're going to color in the ear. And hopefully, I'm going right over those white lines, and hopefully you can see them now maybe a little bit better. And we're just giving it a peachier tone as opposed to the pink. Okay. So that is photo 1. However, we are going to do a little bit of work on the flower too. It's a carnation. So you're going to, I hope you have this, the neon color, the neon pink. It's quite nice. So we're going to make lines coming from the top down, because if it's a carnation, it's got those little tiny ribs, I guess. Those little lines. Maybe you can try to get a few more at the top as opposed to the bottom. And keep in mind, as you come around here, we want to keep these bends, I suppose, the ruffles, because that's going to make it look kind of nice at the end, if you can keep those. And hopefully we can keep another one here. It's like when you paint a ribbon and you get those the flows of a ribbon, that's going to be the same idea. So nice little lines. Okay, so here's another. Keep spinning your pencil around so you don't have to sharpen it. There'll be lots of times where you need to have a real super sharp pencil, and then there's other times that you don't need it. All right, crazy pink, crazy pink. And now we're going to get back to the eye. Still working with my little tiny white. So sharp white. And we're going to highlight the eye now. So right in there. Little small circles. Starting at that very left. And bringing it toward the pupil. And I'm pressing fairly hard this time. And bring it around. And then I'm also going to highlight just behind that pupil. And then I'm pulling it towards the right. So left edge, come towards the pupil, left edge, and then keep working to the right. And you should end up with a bit of debris from that white. And then we're going to take a super sharp moss green, and we're going to do the same idea, except we're working this way. And you don't press nearly as hard with this color. It works just fine with a super light touch. And it's at the top here, it's at the back, it's at the bottom. Not really in front here. And then, do you need to go back to the white maybe? The white's going to end up burnishing now and blending a little bit. And when you look at it, you shouldn't see any stripes or any clear definition. You should just see some lighter green and some moss green. And you need to adjust the pupil. Check to see if the pupil is the size and shape you want. Maybe you need to fill it in. I think it's not too bad, so I think I will just leave that. Now I said to just highlight the nose. It's, again, it's more like a burnishing. Check it, see how it's doing. It's not really going to be a sparkly highlight. Do you need to add any more peach? Do you need to add any more pumpkin orange? I don't know. I don't think so. I think mine is just fine. So I'm going to take my pumpkin orange and I'm going to add a wee bit in the ear, close to this edge. You're not trying to turn it orange. You're just trying to add a little something, something. just a little bit right, just kind of right in here, fading in. And then, because that just kind of was a tint, I think what I'll do is I'll add a little of this chestnut. And that color is a nice color. This one and henna are nice pink colors, but are natural looking colors. So you can see that I'm trying to work backwards into that fluff. And then I circle, circle, circle strokes on this smoother part. And maybe I can just break up some of this light fluff and add a little bit more chestnut. Just kind of in there. We've got some gray coming as well, but that just adds a little bit of a natural kind of a color. Let's get another warm gray. Warm gray 50. And now we're going to look to see where we need a little bit more dark. For sure, we want to have a shadow in on this ear. And I'm coming back in. You're working with the negative space a lot of the time with colored pencil. And we wanted fuzzy here, so make sure when you come up close to it, you make fuzzy strokes with this gray too. Okay, so it's darker down in here, and then as it gets to the other side, it lightens up a bit. Let's do it on this side too. Just bring those lines toward the fuzzy edge we made with the white. I'm going to bring it up just a little bit here too. And then just gently stop it as it curves around the top. And let's do behind the ear. Okay, I like this, so I'm going to try to get this part here where this is darker and then the mane comes out. So I really want to make sure that when I add this darker, just a few dark lines in here, I give myself some space to pull the mane out. So there's the mane again. So we're going with the negative space, we're coming in behind it and trying to shape it with that negative space. So we've done the ears, we've come down here. Well, I think we could maybe put a little bit here. And I don't have any whisker pockets, so I think I might very, very gently put in just a few. And then I'll come on this mouth line and bring this gray, this little triangle of gray so that I find where her jawline is. And I'll pull that down. I think that's all good. I'll put some of this 50 in here as well. Anywhere where you see just a little bit of a darker, it's not as dark as what we did with the 90. but it's not the super light gray either. That's where you're going to put this color. And when you add something like this, you put it where you want it, and then just try to get it to fade into everything else. And we can put some here. Remember, we were talking about the gray there. Well, we'll put some here just because. Do we need a little bit more dark? This is with that 90.
You must have paid one of your students to comment.
Oh, really?
She says, such a wonderful, talented artist and terrific teacher.
Oh, well, she better message me so I can get her payment to her. I put a bit of dark right in there too, because I know I'm going to have a little bit there. Just kind of look at the picture and see where the darks are, because really she's just sort of light. She's a whole bunch of grays, I guess. I think we also need some 50 in the ears, because we mentioned that we were going to do that. So this gray here, it's not a shade. I think she actually was gray, or maybe it was fuzz or something. So we're bringing that very gently, super gently. There we go. And again, so as when I'm here and I'm going circle, circle, circle inside the ear, but when I come to this, I have to go in a more of a linear method stroke so that I can get that fuzzy edge. The other thing to remember is keep an eye on your angles. Lots of times we like to straighten things up, but this is really on an angle. So I need to make sure that that's what I do here as well. So this is going to be the dark part here. I think I was wondering what I need to put in here. Sort of looks like maybe chestnut. Let's put chestnut in there, just so that we know where this little mouth is. There. And one more thing. I think maybe I'm going to take the warm 30 and just put a little shadow underneath this white chin, because we've got a white chin against a white chest, and we're going to need something there so we know what the difference is. And if this is making you crazy, you could fill that in with the gray or the white. We have a warm gray 10 also, and that might be what we're going to put down there. Now look at that. I got ahead of myself and I actually said that. Put chestnut underneath the mouth. And if you want, you could put the could have used the chestnut on the whisker pockets too. All right. How about another step on that flower, and then we get to put that OMS on. Processed red. It's kind of a purpley color actually. And you know how we did the neon or a pink down this way? Now we are going to do the processed red up that way. Okay. So you want to go and try to grab and incorporate that graphite line and pull up some lines. And then continue on.
I love how the people are helping And when someone asks a question, someone else answers it for them, so I don't have to answer it.
You can just relax there.
Thank you all for doing that.
Okay, so you want to have this come from the bottom upwards towards the top. You still want to have more neon pink at the top, but you want these two things to sort of blend together. If you can get this wing, that is a very good thing to get. And another one over here. So really try to concentrate and see if you can't get that ruffle. Okay, keeping, it's a little bit tricky at the very, very bottom. I guess the florists are getting all worried because they're trying to tell people not to wait to the last minute to order the flowers. I just saw that on the news. Just
What
like
are
before.
what are ordering the flowers for Valentine's Day?
Yeah, they just don't want everybody to wake up on the 12th, I guess, and say, oh my gosh, I should have ordered some flowers. And
yeah.
just like before Christmas, I guess, when they were trying to get us all to get organized.
Yeah. And how did that work out for us, right?
I don't think that worked out that great, but all right. So I think we've got enough stuff on there. We can put this OMS. So I use this odorless mineral spirits. I just like it. I like how it works, and then I like to blend it and things like that. So I put them in these water brushes. They're just called water brush. If you Google on Dick Blick or whatever, it comes up water brush. There's loads of brands, loads of brands. What is this one? This one is Sakura, and there's Niji, and there's, what's that one? I don't know what that one says. Something else too. Anyhow, like I say, there's loads and loads of brands. Faber-Castell, this one's a Derwent. I have lots of them. Doesn't really matter. And just get a round, a medium round. And you're going to just squeeze it. And then we are going to touch this water brush on our pieces, areas here. You can be careful in some spots, like I would be very careful in the eye area. And then I would just wipe it, get in the habit of wiping it so that you don't transfer. Like if I went from here into here, I run the risk of bringing the black where I don't really want it. It doesn't do much, or you can't see much on a white or a light color. It seems to be more, you can see what it's doing more on the darker colors.
So,
and then I just push it on.
This is not watercolor pencils.
No, this is not watercolor pencils. This is wax-based pencils.
And you are using
OMS, odorless
OMS.
mineral spirits.
Odorless mineral spirits, yes.
Yes.
Someone thought you were using watercolor pencils because they see your
No, that's what this
brush.
What this stuff does. Odorless mineral spirits. And there's different brands out there. This just happens to be the one I like. And no, I don't use baby oil. I figure baby oil is for babies. But lots of people do, so, whatever. To each their own. And so every once in a while, you just have to press again. You don't have to press all the time. And you can see here now, you see how I'm pushing that up? Instead of panicking, just make it work for you. And even though I say it doesn't really show up or work on the light colors, I still put it on the light colors. It will also help you remove graphite lines. So some of these here, where I don't want them, I'm going to take them off, the graphite lines. When you come to the side, you can be a little bit careful. It will bleed. Like it will go into your background. If you don't have any pigment in what you're pushing into the background, then it will dry clear. But that's the other reason why we had to fix our pan pastel, because pastels don't like water or liquid. And so then you would really have a mess when the two things met. I'm just kind of shaking it. I just think it makes the fur a little bit softer, and I like the look of it. Plus, I think it makes it go maybe a little bit faster. That changes the feel of the paper for our next steps. And I don't wait for it to dry or anything like that. I just keep on working on top of it. Okay, and then I'm going to go in the ear as well.
So you're being asked what is the brush that you're using to apply the OMS?
That's that water brush I was saying. And if you Google on in an art store, water brush, it's not a watercolor brush, it's a water brush. And they should come up with a whole bunch of different brands, whatever they're carrying, and any of them will work. You will unscrew and you'll fill it with your OMS, screw it back on, and off you go. So you can see I'm also doing the flower. I'm not being super careful on the flower because it's all pink and it's all good. There we go. Okay. I have one of these pipettes and that's how I fill mine. And they just kind of unscrew like this. Sometimes they have these black things in them. You just pull that out, fill it up, put this back in. It's just like a regulator, I guess. And you can twist it back on. And the reason why you want to put it in that, you don't want to put it in a dish when apply it with a brush, is because even though it says it's odorless, it's still evaporating into the air. So you want to keep it in contained. And I just store it in this. I don't remove it or anything. I've really not ever had any leakage problems or anything like that. Okay. So then we come to our moon scrubbers. And it's a Scharf brush. It's kind of in the middle of a fabric brush and a blender. You could also use those gray paper stumps. Have you seen those? Different gray paper stumps. And I used to use these all the time, but then they get kind of mucky, and I just ended up liking this because I could just keep using it over and over and over again. And I clean it just in some of the OMS on the paper towel. So make sure it is clean, and then you can gently rub. And, like I say, gently, just do it gently, depending on how much pencil you've got on your piece. You'll see what it's doing, or you won't. don't force it. At a later step, you might see a little bit more. And like I said, you see a little bit more on the dark than you do on the light. Now, anywhere you think these graphite lines are going to be a problem, that's where you will take them off. And you will be taking off some of your pencil too, so you'll have to reapply your pencil, but that's fine. I didn't worry too much about the top edge of the flower. Maybe you put it on a little bit too dark by the nose. So I would just make sure that I've got a little bit of the OMS there. Make sure that you've got a clean piece of your kneaded eraser, and you can take a little bit off. Doesn't have to come off completely, but maybe the way you put on the pattern, it was just too much. You see, so then you just have to reapply. You know, maybe later on I'll think that this is, I'll take that off. You do have to make sure that you keep an eye on your kneaded eraser though, because it picks up. So, you know, it picks up something around there, and if you don't keep an eye on it, then it will deposit it the next time you put it down. Okay, make sure she has a nice little chin. And do we need to reapply anything on here? Maybe add a few more fluffies. This might be a spot that I maybe should have taken a little bit off. I'll just put that on there and see. And then just have a look at your markings now again. Do you like them? Maybe have a few stray hairs going up. See, now that would be one that I don't want, because I'm going to put a shadow on there. And that's distracting. There. Now, we've got a few things left to do on the eye again, of course. Let's see. Should we let's put the eyelashes on her eye. They're not.
Oh, sorry,
Yes?
Rosie's asking if you ever use a pencil extender.
No, I don't. Lots of people do, though. Like I say, lots of people do that. I just find that it doesn't really bother me that they're that short. And I just find that they hurt my fingers. Okay. And you never have enough of them. Okay, I'm having a huge trouble with this box of, I've bought a brand new box of all these whites. And good thing I did, because like I say, well, you go through them quite a bit. You see, I'm just trying to make the white markings join into the gray. And sometimes you can get them to work. actually go into the gray, and then we'll work the gray back. Like, just markings are always like that. You have to work one thing bigger and then bring the other one back. You don't want it to be little stripes. Put a little bit more on her cheeks too. And we had a little bit of the eyelashes. She doesn't have long eyelashes. I just didn't want to have a super crispy edge at the top. We have a crispy edge down here. We don't want one up here. So don't think that you want to have, you know, exactly 5 eyelashes. What color now? We want to have warm gray 70. Warm gray 70.
I guess Nancy was asking if you were working with the Prismacolor white tiny pencil or another. It seems to be going on so nice, more than I have used.
It is a white, it is a Prismacolor. It is. The key for a Prismacolor, if you are trying to actually make lines, is they have to be sharp, and you have to kind of like dig into what you're doing. If you just tick a little across the top, then it's just going to make wax all over the place. It's not actually going to show or do anything. You actually do have to dig it in. All right, and hopefully I can show you that soonish too. So warm gray 70. Ever so gently, it says, darken the back of the iris, way back here, just so gently. We're just trying to darken that moss green. And here too, we try to do eyelashes, so just do more of a linear stroke across the top to help that look. I don't know if you can see that. You see how it's a little bit sort of slightly fuzzy? I'm saying eyelashes, but I don't really mean that you need to have these big lines hanging down. It's just, this is a crispy edge with an underline, and then that's a fuzzy edge with possible eyelashes coming down. And we are going to put a little something something here. Just gently, again, kind of sketchy.
So do you find that some of the Prismacolor white pencils work better than others?
They're a constant struggle. They're a constant struggle, but I mean, they're all technically the same. They all are supposed to be out of the same.
So are you applying the same amount of pressure this time around that you did the first time around?
With the white or with the other colors?
With the white, with the other colors, all the above.
All the above. So when I put that warm 70 on the back of the eye, I was barely touching the surface. Barely touching the surface. However, now that I've got a decent, got my white going, I'm pressing sort of a medium. And this is where I was saying that I sort of started here and dig in and pull it up and lift, and dig in and pull it up and lift. And that way, one hopes that you are going to get some texture. And then you start getting these lines coming into the gray.
And then another question is it possible to use too much Gamsol? Do you have to blot any off?
I would say not at the first step. You can put it on, it doesn't really matter. I mean, obviously, if it's dripping out of your brush, you might need to get a new brush. Maybe the regulator's not really working very well. And you put it on and you just kind of move it around. And then I usually do it a second time. But after the second time, especially if you flip over, you should be able to see that your paper is saturated and you really don't need to put it on again. Okay, so looking at the front there, if you think you need to blend, although I don't know if I do. You could take another gray and just extend. See, now I'm hardly even touching. And I'm just pulling that dark that I put on there and I'm just softening it towards the front of the nose. And where's my celadon? I do find that you might want to shadow in here. And I'm doing that with the celadon. So I'm just putting it in with a linear stroke, bringing it down here. It gives a little bit of form. If you put on too much, you can always kind of blend it in with your white. It's supposed to be a barely there sort of a thing. It's kind of nice to use a color instead of gray. I guess technically I could have used a gray as well. All right. Just taking off all that debris here. And we are going to put a little something on the top of the flower next. So remember what I was saying, you want to find this little S curve thing here. And you want to find this one. There's another one right here too. That will give shape to your flower. And then we're just going to kind of highlight the top of the flower. And it's kind of a hit and miss. Notice how it's not even. Some are longer than others. Just don't want a whole bunch of little stripes of different colors and all right. There. All right, so it's sort of looking like a flower. All right, so now we've pretty much got a lot of it in and we've got our little mouth, we got the eyes done, and it's just a matter of looking at all the grays. So pull out your grays. You have a whole value scale there, really. We even have a 10, don't we? We got the warm gray 90 is the darkest. Then you have a 70, a 50, a 30, and you have a 10. Of course, you have black and white as well. And now we just need to look to see where we would like things to be, a little bit darker or a little bit lighter. It does say maybe you want to put a little bit darker in the ear. When you do these things, it's a wee something. See, I've got some here, I got some here, I got some there, and a little bit there. Don't do the same thing exactly all through. And now I'm just going to take my little scrubber and I'm just going to smooth it in. I like a smooth, sort of fuzzy look. Do we like this? Could be. And I'm pressing a little bit darker right up here, and then I'm less as I go And then I'll just give it a little rub. The Gamsol and the Moon Scrubber work well together. If it's not rubbing the way you want, you could go and just dab it and put a little bit more on. Remember to clean your brush too, just to make sure that you've got it going. This is probably all the dark that I really want. She was a very, she was a pretty light looking girly. So do I need any 70? You know, maybe a little bit there, maybe a little bit here. I don't think too much of that one is going to do me any good either. And you just kind of go down the way and ask yourself, would you like to have it a little bit lighter, a little bit darker? Let's try the warm gray 30. And that is going to help you blend as well. It's all about a soft little gray kitty. And notice that I'm doing little sort of strokes like this. Okay, just like a little scribble, but I'm also putting it on a little bit on the, well, sort of a sketchy kind of a look. I can go into this dark gray too and soften that. Not doing too much here. I think I'm going to leave that for a light look. Okay, maybe a little something on here. I see too much pink coming through. A little bit of pink's okay. So after all, she is a Florrie pink. And then let's take the warm gray 10. And that's the color that's going to soften everything down. And kind of blend what you've got. You're not trying to color things like this. You are trying to put little hairs and leaving spaces between. It's really important that you remember that, I think. Doing a little bit at a time, looking at what you're doing. Sort of bumping in, see I'm bumping into my dark and trying to blend it and join it into the light parts. And that's what's going to make a soft little kitty. You know, and if you would like to have a little bit more dark, just take one of your, try one. I tried the 30, that wasn't quite what I was thinking of, so then I'm going to the 50. And then I'll blend it a little bit with the 10. You could blend with the white as well. But that's sort of what I'm going to do in here. I've got the 30. Maybe a few lines of 50. And then I'll blend it up with the 10. Just with those little sort of short, jerky type strokes. If you need white again, which I think I do right here, and I see some lines there. You know, do you want to take them off, or do you want to try to incorporate them in with one of your grays? You know, I'd probably try to incorporate them first. And if you just can't, if you don't like the look, then you can always take them off later. Make sure she has a nice mane. You really want this to curve around nicely. So I join this up into here. I bring this down and around this way. I bring it down this way so that it all joins up nicely. And this is where you're looking. In here, it doesn't matter what you do. Just keep it light and let it fade off. Add your OMS. Let it smooth out. And you just kind of keep on working it. This looks like a nice place to have a tuft. Okay. Now at the end, you know, I mean, I would play a little bit more, obviously, with, just show you on that ear. I'd play her fur quite a bit. Like I've done this part here to pretty much my satisfaction. And this area here, I would go with that warm 10 and just, again, just kind of smooth it out with those little sketchy, jerky type strokes. And then because she's kind of all gray, and some white, you might want to pull in, I have a cream in the palette and I have a little bit of light umber. And you might just want to warm things up a little bit by just putting a bit of cream in here. Maybe a little bit of the umber as an actual shadow. It's just kind of nice sometimes if it's all super neutral, then you can just pop a little something in there. Sometimes if it's a very cool palette, then it's nice to put a warm in there somewhere. Light umber is a great color. And it seems to just go really well with a lot of things. It's a great highlight for a dark, and it's a great shadow for a light color. So you see, I could just, if I want to have a bit more whisker pockets, I can put some in there where the mouth line is. Get that chin to show, pressing quite hard here now. And going into the dark, into that brown, just to get it to blend. If you always avoid, then it will look like you're avoiding areas. You want things to blend and mingle. There you go. I did say that I tinted her with a bit of permanent red. If you're going to do that, let's see, I've got some stuff on there. If you're going to tint, just be careful with it. Permanent red's really, really quite a strong color. So there's some there and there's some up there. Maybe you have enough pink showing through from the pan pastel. Do you need more neon? You might need more neon on your flower. As you go through steps, you don't do as much. And then if it's dry, you could go back and you could add a little bit more of your pan pastels. I usually do that the next day because even though you think it might be dry, sometimes it grabs and then you've got another mess. But I think I would probably bring that pan pastel down here a little bit more. Ooh, I have little eyebrows. Sometimes they show and sometimes they don't. Just depends. Don't force it. Is there any quick questions left?
Let's find out.
Pretty much covered everything. You know, I would, like I say, I would work on the gray fur a little bit more.
So where is Neo Color White used?
Oh, that's a good point. Good, there you go. So that would be your white is just not doing it anymore and you want it to be a little bit brighter, and that's where this is. So for sure on the nose, maybe I often use it above the eye so that it pulls your attention to the eye. And by now I've got a lot of white and the white's just not gonna, the white pencil just isn't gonna show. So I'm here and here and there. You know, I mean, if you've got a lot of other waxy bits, it might be a good place to put it on the mane as well. Like for instance, here too. And you can sharpen it. I just find that it helps me get that final whites.
It says, please show us well, first off, it says another excellent demo. Florrie is beautiful. Thanks to both of us. And another lovely class fills us with joy.
Good,
Excellent
good.
lesson, Lydia. Okay, so another excellency. Please show us the technique for applying the pan pastels. Do you have like something that you can put pastels on within your fingertips?
So for this particular one?
Just to do a little demo on how to apply the pan pastels. And Nancy says, does the flower have a little more color as the original looks like it's a little brighter? Both are beautiful.
Seriously? It's pretty bright over here. So I think, well, I used all the colors, didn't I? Did I use permanent red? Maybe permanent red is what you're waiting for. I put permanent red, I think, over the process red. To make it, I think probably I was thinking it was too pink or too purpley. And so then I thought, I'll bring that in because it kind of matches up with this. See how they're permanent red, permanent
And
red.
Leslie says, excellent class. I really appreciate all the detail that you put into it.
Oh, thanks. Thank you. All right, so here we go. So I believe I used, let's see, I have these pearlescence ones and I bought them. I wouldn't necessarily suggest that you run out to get them, although you think that I'm using them all the time, but that's just because I have them. And I bought them, and so now I need to use them. So I use basically these colors. Now there is a magenta tint that's very nice too. So I just get some on one of these little cosmetic sponges, and I would just put on in little blotches that tint. It's dusty. Here we go. And I usually get one per. So you probably don't see the fact that it's pearlescent on the camera. It's a very, very subtle thing. Okay. And then this is not subtle at all. So you would be very careful with that one.
But they're not creamy, right? Because I think of the pan as being creamy.
Oh, no, they're not creamy at all. No. Okay, so then you put that on. And then maybe it's too much. So maybe you think, oh, that's not good. And so you'd go back with your tint. And you would just kind of calm it down. You can take it off with a kneaded eraser if you really think that you don't want whatever you've got going there. And then you just go back and you put a little more on.
So that's cool. I mean, it almost makes me want to try it.
Almost, but not quite, right?
Yeah, I don't like dust.
No dust. Well, you certainly, these are certainly very dusty. Okay, so you see how I just kind of put a little permanent red there, a little bit too much, put a little bit of tint back on top and let it fade off.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And so then I would probably spray with a workable fixative, see if I like it, if I want to change anything. Then I spray with the final fixative. I would finish my critter square with the sand seal and paint, and then glue her down onto the little square.
Gorgeous. So excited. And then you trim afterwards.
Yeah. You can have, if you get good after a while, you can get them fairly trimmed up, but I just have one of those self-healing cutting mats and an X-Acto knife, and I just flip it over and trim it up. And then you could. Now,
is that a technical term?
Yes. I've been liking this paint, this ice crystal paint, and on my, let's see, I've used it, I think, on one of them that I sent already, and I put them so that you get a little bit of the crystally, glamour dusty look, and then I finished with the brush on varnish. Now, if you do all that, then there's really no point buying the pearlescent pan pastels. So, you know. Layer it all up and get carried away, and then you think, okay. So that's kind of it.
That's it. What brand of pastels?
These guys actually are just called pan pastels.
You're gonna trip me up again, right? Like,
I know, they're not new.
You do that to me all the time.
They just don't have like super exciting names. You see these?
No, they don't.
They're expensive. I know they are expensive, and that's why I try to give you guys another choice, like with the new pastels. And like I said, they work just fine to just get them on, like you dust them up on a piece of this, and then you can put them on exactly the same way And you
With
could
your makeup sponge. Oh, cool. Okay.
There's lots of options, and if you need some other options, make sure you email me. But especially, like I was saying, I've had a lot of people sort of talk about Gloria, and oh my God, I can't do this, I can't do that. Well, just, there's lots of things you can use, lots of things you can use. So it's just a matter of figuring it out, what you have there and what your budget. I don't expect everybody to go out and buy these. They're like $5 each at least. So you got to wait for a sale.
So now if they want to sign up for your cupcake,
Yes.
they go to lydiasteeves.com.
Yeah. So Gloria is a colored pencil. So you'd go under e-pack, colored pencil, then e-packets, and then you have to go find cats. And there she would be. And there's one where you just want to buy the e-packet, and then there's one if you want to sign up for the Zoom class. And then I send you the e-packet and all the rest of that kind of stuff.
Excellent. And that's all that is going to charity, to the Humane Society. So it's a beautiful thing. So everyone should do it. And if you fill in, we'll do a second one, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'll do that. And like I say, if there's enough interest for an actual acrylic class too, with an acrylic Gloria, we can do that. I don't have the packet up just quite yet. I just finished it so I could show you today that she is coming as well.
Awesome. So thank you for another wonderful class. Thank you for everyone for hanging in with us. And thank you for always showing up and supporting our local artists, even though they're not local. On Zoom, everybody's local, or Facebook, everybody's local. Yeah. Don't forget to stop by the group on next Monday. We're going to do Meet the Artist, Karen Ortman. And she's also going to do one of these little make it take it's with a geranium on Thursday at 7 p.m. And then on Wednesday, we're having an open session. If you are ever interested in wanting to participate in a Zoom class, you haven't done it yet, you don't know what it's about, or if you have and you just want to come and hang out with me and the other artists, we're having an open session, and you can find that room link on artfulwebinars.com. Under Artful Webinars, there's a pink button that says join an open session. That's going to be Wednesday at 6:30. And Lydia will be there, and a bunch of artists that are all a part of the Artful Webinars family, and all the teachers, well, not all the teachers, but whoever's available who are going to be doing convention classes to show and tell their projects. And so you can ask some questions about it and stuff like that. So that's always a fun night, isn't it, Lydia?
Yeah, it is nice. It's fun. Lots of fun.
So thank you all so much. Thank you, Lydia, for another wonderful class. And we will see you soon, and we'll see everybody soon.
Yeah.
Have a
Thanks,
great
everybody. Thanks.